Hi, my name is Antonio Tibaldi, and I'm the co-director of the MFA Program in Film at the City College of New York. Welcome to CUNY TV Presents, a television show focusing on emerging filmmakers and their exceptional cinematic work. Joining me today is my fellow co-director of the MFA program, Andrea Weiss. Andrea?
Hi, Antonio. Glad to be here. Today's conversation focuses on the talented filmmakers of the MFA program in film at City College. The MFA program in film at City College is the only graduate-level program of its kind, offering a full immersion in both documentary and fiction filmmaking at an affordable and accessible public university. We are an international filmmaking community in the heart of Harlem. Our faculty of award-winning filmmakers is dedicated to mentoring a talented, selective group of students to become the next generation of original voices in independent film. Our students have won numerous student Oscars and Emmys, and their films have been official selections at Sundance, Tribeca, Berlin, and Venice film festivals.
You're about to watch a collection of outstanding short fiction and documentary films that take creative risks and tell meaningful stories reflecting the diversity and richness of human experience. Let me introduce our filmmakers, all alumni of the MFA program in film at the City College of New York. Susan Mei, Vivian Rivas, Melisande Bliss, and Nyeem Greenwood. Susan Mei began as an assistant editor on the documentary Last of the Breed, the Dave Evans story. She made her directorial debut with A Way Back Home, which explores the Western-Asian relationship through a Chinese-American lens. Susan's work focuses on Chinese-American identity and immigrant history in the U.S. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you.
Vivian Rivas was born in Guatemala and originally trained as an architect before coming to New York to pursue filmmaking. At 54, she earned her master's in documentary film from City College. Her thesis short, Ebb Tide, screened at over 14 festivals. She is now in post-production on Ashley, a featured documentary about mothers seeking justice for their daughters. Welcome, Vivian.
Thank you.
Melisande Bliss is a New York-based writer, director, and true crime recreations producer. Her short film, Eight of Spades, screened internationally, earning Best Drama Short at the LA Indie Film Fest Awards. She's now in development on a proof of concept short for a surreal psychological drama exploring love, trauma, addiction, and urban loneliness. Welcome, Melisande.
Thanks for having me.
Our last guest is Nyeem Greenwood, a Manhattan-based filmmaker who began his creative path in stand-up comedy in Atlanta's Laughing Skull Lounge. While pursuing his MFA at City College, he's made films in Turkey, Thailand, and Nepal. His debut film, Off Book, earned him the Chantal Akerman Award in 2022. Nyeem continues to direct through his production company, Nyeem Inc. Welcome, Nyeem.
Hey, thanks.
Okay, let's talk about their films. Susan, tell us something about A Way Back Home.
A Way Back Home is a story about a second-generation Chinese-American woman who visits her grandfather's home village in Taishan, China, to deliver a letter to a wife he left behind when he immigrated to America. So this seemingly simple task becomes very complex for her as she spends more time with this woman. It's a story about family, guilt, cross-generational healing.
And how did you come up with the idea to make this film? What is it based on?
I was raised by my grandfather, so like just growing up, he told a lot of stories about like what life was like in China, how like a lot of families moved out of China during the first Chinese-American immigration wave. So a lot of people were just abandoned. He was kind of abandoned at home too before he came over.
How did the idea to make this film come to you?
I was raised by my grandfather, who is an immigrant, and he told us a lot of stories when I was growing up about his life in villages, how a lot of families moved out of China and they would leave their wives, their kids behind, and it was a rumor that he was one of those kids that got left behind before he immigrated over as well.
And I was wondering, did you show the film to your family? What was their reaction? You know, because it seems like it's based on something pretty personal. I'm wondering if...
I think they were more interested in the setting than the film itself. They were just like, oh, it's China. They just miss being back there. They haven't been back for a while.
And for you, how was it to go to China and bring some crew from the US?
Honestly, it was a blur because everything happened so quickly and everything was so different there, whether it was renting, the locations, just talking to the villagers there, because my actor is actually a villager from that village.
So the memory is kind of a blur, the memory of doing it.
Everything went so quickly. I mean, we just went with the flow every single day. A lot of things were changing on the spot, whether it was my scene or the shots that we made.
So now let's take a look at a clip from Way Back Home.
嗰個使唔使補啊？
嗰個結婚嗰陣時係咁噶啦，係有啲語錄好聽啲啊。你喺邊度翻嚟啊？
美國
美國啊？我個衰佬都去咗美國。
衰佬，
你
其實咧，
你好靚，雙眼好似，好靚，好似。
多謝。
係食啦，食嘢啦。
Vivian, tell us about your film, Ebb Tide.
Ebb Tide is a story about Z Pacifici, who was a friend of mine. She was a retired teacher from New York City. She was already in her 80s, and she was always talking about the happiest times of her life, which was when she was a teacher in East Harlem in the 1990s. So this story is about her reconnecting with her past in order to validate her existence. And it's also, to me, it's like an homage to teachers and education, because I had the fortune to have a lot of good teachers that have taught me in one way or another stuff about life, of my profession.
And how did you go about shaping the narrative? Because clearly it's a documentary that's unfolding in real time.
Yeah, it taught me a lot because I knew exactly her story. I was a close friend of hers, so she was always talking about these kids. She remembered their names. Her favorite student was Melvin. She always spoke about him, and her eyes were lit up every time she mentioned his name. So I wrote the story with her and thinking how a woman at her age in that situation would search back to them. So that's why I created the calling 311 and the looking for people in East Harlem. And also, I didn't know if we were going to find the kids because it's been so long. So I wrote the ending. And the beginning was her finding all these memories because she had all these poetry books that she had kept all the years. And at the end, she was going to put them back in the closet.
So, but a few things happened that you completely didn't expect, such as the flood in her apartment. How did you use those in terms of fitting them into the narrative?
At the beginning, I thought, okay, she's organizing her apartment, cleaning up, and she finds these books, right? Which she was always bringing them out and putting them back. But she calls me early in the morning, which was very weird because she was always waking up at noon. Vivian, my apartment got flooded last night. And I'm like, great, I'm sorry, but great. So I just showed up and I shot her going through reality, right? So I thought that was a good way to start everything, right? Something that disturbed all her peaceful life.
I just want to say something about your film, which is, I think its success and its power has a lot to do with these two very unlikely friends coming together, bridging all these divides that we're feeling now in our culture. It has this magical thing about this like little old white woman and this kind of rising star rapper becoming friends. It's a beautiful story. Let's take a look at a clip from Ebb Tide.
Hello.
I cannot believe this.
Long time no see.
God.
Wow, it's a long time. I remember you used to look down at me. Now I'm looking down. Wow.
Hi.
How you doing? This is Gigi.
I knew someday, I knew you would make it, that's all.
Thank you.
And if you know how he used to come into my room, I have something, I have to let it out. Melvin, I have a whole group I'm working with. It can't wait. And I said, are you gonna disturb anyone? And he said, no, I just need backup. I need this, I need that. And I said, put away your books because we're gonna copyright them. Right? Do you remember that? It was my favorites too.
Wow. Thank you.
Mel, tell us a little bit about your film to this audience.
So Eight of Spades is about an aspiring actress named Cassie, who's really kind of the epitome of a small town girl with big dreams. So when she meets this stranger one night who says he's a producer and invites her to audition for a role, she's down to go along for the ride. And she slowly finds herself in a very bizarre situation. And the film kind of lives in this space between reality and fantasy and performance and truth, where you're not quite sure what's real and what's not.
It's always interesting what is the seed that from which a story is born, and when you decide, it's so much work to do a film. I was wondering, where did this story come from?
Yeah, so originally, I knew I wanted to do something that was kind of dark and surreal and atmospheric. I was really obsessed with David Lynch, still am, and that's kind of where it all started. And so I was thinking about stories and what could really happen in this world that I knew that I wanted to create. I knew I wanted to do something that was like old New York. And I'm thinking about stories, and I started thinking about this crazy story that my mom told me about something that really happened to her back in the 80s when she was living in New York, trying to make it as an actress. And without giving too much away, a lot of what you see on screen is how it really happened. Even how he started quoting Shakespeare, that was all real. So, it just sounded like such a crazy, weird story. It had to be a film.
Yes, another interesting thing is you just mentioned that it's set in the 80s, and the film does have like a real period feel, which is not at all easy to achieve, especially on very limited budgets. I'm wondering, what were some of the challenges when you set out to do that?
I think, the biggest challenge was really locations, and I didn't have a location scout or much of an art department. So a lot of it was really either me and my DP Terrence, or me and my mom, who was producing and then also doing wardrobe, like driving around the city just looking for like old classic spots. So the newsstand, for instance, we got really lucky with that one. It was one of the last green newsstands that existed in the city that would have matched from back in the day. So yeah, we were really lucky that the guy was cool and he wanted to be in a film, and he let me just dress his whole stand with like old magazines and candies that I got from Economy Candy, where I used to go as a kid. And I don't even think that it really made it into the film because we stay in a wide, but I was really proud of that set. So that was the newsstand, and then the motel was also another tough one that we drove around for weeks, really until almost the week before shooting, looking for the right motel. Because a lot of the ones that looked right were really scary places that you don't want to go film at. So we, again, got lucky with that location, yeah.
Well, I think you really captured something very special. So now let's take a look at a scene from Eight of Spades.
Come here.
take your top off. There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
Nyeem, hi. Tell us about your film Off Book.
I like to think of Off Book like an underdog story. So imagine a 70-year-old actor whose best days are behind him. Maybe he's a bit slow, maybe he's a bit sick nowadays, but he gets this opportunity of a lifetime, comes out of nowhere. He gets this part on Broadway. It's a dream, right? Dream come true. That sparks the love that he feels for not only acting, but his wife, who's his partner in crime. And so his wife gets him off of that couch, gets him feeling himself again. His theater friends help him revamp that love for acting. And not only does he get ready to do the part of a lifetime, but he actually finds love again.
And so I know that your parents were playing the key roles in the film. Tell us, what was that about? Did you do rehearsals with them? How cooperative were they, et cetera?
They were extremely cooperative, believe it or not. So I have a close relationship with my parents. It's funny because when during this program, I'm writing the script, and this character was me. The main character was a 30-year-old guy. He's gonna be really cool. I was gonna be so cool playing this part. But taking the class and our professor, Annie Howell, told us, why are you actually making this film? And I sat at my desk, and this is a true story. I sat at my desk, and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? This story is not my story. It's my dad's. So my dad's always been an actor in heart and spirit, but he took the practical route. He's got 4 kids. He worked at MTA. He took the practical job. Mom's always been encouraging him to, stay at it. Same with us. And so when I sat down and realized that, I was crying at my desk, and I called him, and I'm like, Dad, you'd be the star of my film, please. You'd definitely be the one. He's like, all right, calm down, I got you. And then eventually I told Mom she was in it too. And so, yeah, it started because it was their story, and I have to. And now he's the star of my film.
And they're both terrific. So one thing that's really striking about your film is these kind of shifting realities, whether we're in this kind of external reality or internal reality. Mm-hmm. And that is so hard, especially in a short film. How did you get the audience to stay with you through those jumps?
Okay, so it made sense in my head. And through the program, I was sitting in the editing suite with Antonio. We really did have to figure out, how do I give that dreamlike sequence, this world, and then how do you get up? How do you wake up? If you want to, you could also stay in that dream, but it had to be clear, I think. And so it took some time, and it was hard for me too. I had to, get rid of some darlings, but with some late nights and with some precise, storytelling, I hope I achieved that.
Let's take a look at a clip from Nyeem's film Off Book.
How to be off book. Step 1. Over-memorize. There's no getting around reading your lines. You have to work and read and write like hell. You gotta put the work in.
Read it again.
We met at a directing actors workshop. I directed, he acted. Could not memorize his lines. He said he was dyslexic. He said he needed extra time specifically with me to study.
Hell yeah. I was trying to get in them drawers.
Shut up.
All right, so I think let's open it up to a little bit of a discussion. And I had a question for Susan, because I know in your film you wore so many hats. You were the writer, the director, the cinematographer, and I was wondering how much was it to do all of that?
Honestly, I was just interested in doing the DP work of it. If it wasn't part of the program, I wouldn't want to direct it either. I just wanted to write and shoot it. It was really important that I had a really strong crew that I can trust, because everyone just followed my vision or non-direction blindly, and it just all came together.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Nyeem about that, because you shot so many people's films. You were like constantly getting on a plane, going somewhere to shoot some films. And how did you end up being the DP on so many films?
Oh, I did not operate camera, but I was just there. I was either AD or I did sound, just did whatever they needed me to do. How was it? Well, you said they invited themselves. I invited myself. Like Marat was like, "You sure you want to come?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." I invited myself to all these places, and they're like, "Sure, you're gonna come all the way around the world?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course. I've planned for this. This is happening." So I did, and also we're traveling. We got accepted to Off Book got accepted to a film festival in South Korea, in Italy, and in Amsterdam. I just came back from Amsterdam. We're going to France. We're going to Cannes, France, because we got Cannes or Cannes. Cannes. We're going to Cannes. One of the films got selected in the shorts corner. This was Marat's film. And I just came back from LA for happened in August. So yeah, I'm traveling to do the films. I'm traveling to celebrate them.
So Vivian, I know you're working on a new project. Please, could you talk a little bit about that and tell us what it is?
Yes, my new film is my first feature film. The name is Ashley. It's a movie that I've been shooting for 7 years, and it's the story about this group home in Guatemala who caught fire, and 41 girls died, burned alive under the care of the government. So I'm following the mothers of the girls seeking for justice and closure.
I also want to ask you how you feel your experience at City College helped shape you as a filmmaker.
Definitely, it gave me everything I know and much more. I think I came from fiction and working in big sets and big productions and big TV commercials where money is not an issue and the resources are unlimited. And that's why I fell in love with documentaries and the program, because I learned so much can be done with no resources. I mean, you just have to be a good storyteller, which to me, it's the most important thing in life, to tell a story. It helps everywhere, for everything in life. And I was happy to be teaching in the program, and I think that it's important too, because the new generations need to know about storytelling and how you can impact other people's lives.
Mel, Vivian just talked a little bit about what, her feelings about, or her memories, or the impact that City College and the MFA program had on her. I'm wondering, for you, it's been a few years that you left the program, and I was wondering, what do you retain from it? And
I mean, first of all, it was quite a few years ago, but I think it was invaluable to have a space to play and to kind of learn and develop my visual style, which is what I feel like I did with 8 of Spades, where I had that opportunity to really see it come to life and to figure out, okay, I do like this. I like, an atmospheric kind of visceral tone. I like, the surreal aspects, and that's to this day still kind of what I'm interested in. Kind of a visuals first, character-driven, less plot-driven story. And so figuring that out early, I think, was really helpful, and also just to have an opportunity to work on other people's films and trial by fire, make a film and just figure it out on the way.
Yeah, I think there's something so, refreshing and empowering to be able to just kind of take some equipment, team up, and go out and make a film, without necessarily asking permission to anybody, just doing it. And in this case, we're part of a program, which is what we try and do, create an atmosphere where, filmmakers can come and do their work, and we just try and create a support system for it, a place where you can safely try things like you just mentioned. And what are you working on now?
So I have a feature that I wrote that I've just been submitting to some labs, hopefully to move forward with development. And it's about a woman's experience with addiction and chronic illness, and how trauma can manifest in the body, and when all these things converge, how it can be really overwhelming and kind of lead to, a kind of identity crisis. And then I'm interested in, where do we go from there? Once, how do we get through the pain? and how do different people deal with pain. And then, you know, finding joy again on the other side.
What advice would you give to film students today?
Vivian?
Follow your gut. The best stories are the ones that you really, truly believe in. Doesn't matter if it's fiction, documentary. If you're passionate about your story, go ahead and tell it.
Yeah, I would say if you want to do this, you have to have a very nice balance of malleability and hard-headedness. No one's going to make it but you, but also there's going to be people around you that can really help it.
That's good. Mel? Susan?
Yeah, my advice is pretty similar. Like, trust what your vision is, but at the same time, be open-minded to like changes on the spot, because sometimes the story is actually going to evolve as we're doing it.
Yeah, and just tell the story that's true for you, and just don't worry about what other people are doing. And there's no one way to do anything, so just trust yourself.
Sadly, that's all the time we have for today. A huge thank you to our amazing guests, Susan Mei, Vivian Rivas, Melisande Bliss, and Nyeem Greenwood, for sharing their journeys and creative insights with us. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation as much as we did. Be sure to spread the word and support the outstanding talent from the City College of New York MFA Program in Film. These filmmakers are shaping the future of cinema.
Remember, you can catch this episode and all the fantastic films from City College Showcase on CUNY TV's YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe and follow us on social media for the latest updates. And don't forget, everything is also available on the CUNY TV app. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.